So here's a quick look at the installed boards. You can see that gaming box fits in there very nicely. USB-C cable, nice and clean. Our voltage converter fits in nicely. Plugs into the board right there. Those are all going to be red connectors eventually to make it a little easier. And it's all nice and clean. So now I'm going to show you how we thread the rest of the wires and close it up. There's just a few wires to run. Included in the kit is both the audio cable and an HDMI cable. You're going to feed those through the little hole. We are recommending cutting out the little plastic tab between the circle and the connector. That just gives you a little bit more flexibility and makes it a little easier to run it through. Those cables are simply going to plug into HDMI port and the audio port in the back of the gaming box. The only other cable to worry about inside the box is, of course, the pedal connector, which is the last one you're going to want to connect because it more or less keeps the box almost enclosed. You're not going to be able to see this from there very well, but it simply fits into the connector there. Turn it around. Plugs into the connector there. And then as we bring these two cables through there, we'll be able to close it up. And there's sufficient room for those cables to torque through there. And as you can see, once it's closed up, we're going to just be able to plug in our special power harness. So let's just put a couple screws back in to hold this together. You can of course put all the rest of the screws in if you want. I'm just going to keep it like that for now since we're going in and out of this a lot. You will see that there's plenty of room here now. You don't have to plug this in until the end. Plugs in, and voila. We've got all the connectors that we need to plug it straight into our control deck. Okay, the easiest part of the whole mod. Take all of these cables, pull them in, place the control deck, and yes, you're going to want to take the screen protector off the place. Don't forget that. Now we're going to flip it around and plug it all in. Okay, when we're in the back, there's a few wires to connect up. Probably start with the HDMI connector is the simplest. It's simply just plugging right into the HDMI board. Then if you grab the other three cables from the power harness, you'll notice every one of them is a different size. That's not our idea, that's how Arcade1up does it so that you don't mess it up. So one is a smaller barrel, and that is the marquee light. So you simply plug that into the marquee cable. The next one, that's the male barrel, we will use to power the HDMI board. So there's one cable left, and that is our main power. You need to feed that through the back panel cover, and the cable that comes through the back panel cover is has two connections, one which is no longer being used. It was used to power the rumble, and we have done that a different way. So you just use the male barrel cable to attach to the last one remaining. Again, you can't really mess it up because they only fit one way. So there's two more connectors to go through the back panel. We need sound and we need pedals. We're not, in this example, going to use the stock speakers, so that cable is not being utilized. We're going to use the audio cable through the back and plug it into a sound bar that we're hiding behind the marquee. So you'll take the audio cable that comes out of the control deck, put it through the top hole, and then not yet, but we will plug it in at the end. We're going to plug it into the sound bar. But before we plug it in, we're going to plug in the pedals. So the pedals is the shortest cable, so do that one last. Put it through. There is a connector that you can pop into the board to hold it in place. And it will come out the back side. And you can take the pedals, plug them in. And we will take our audio cable to the outside, plug it into the sound bar. That's it. Everything's connected. Ready to go. Let's turn it on and find out. Okay, the moment of truth. We're ready to turn it on and try it out. Remember again, this is a PSA. Make sure you remove your masking off the top of your plexi or the internet will make fun of you. Let's go. Well, that's good. Seems to be working. Should we try something out? So here's some of our multiplayer network games. If you have more than one cab, you can race against each other when you buy multiple kits. So here's a quick look at the list of games that you can do that with. A couple burnouts. And Crazy Taxi is a 2-player game if you have 2 cabs. It's fantastic. Lots of racing. GTI Club, throw tomatoes at each other. It's fantastic. Skip their flying ones. Lots of variety. Lots of Need for Speed we got running well. Outrun, Head to Head, fantastic. Pac-Man's really good. Ridge Racer 2 runs fantastic. And you can race each other head to head. And a couple wipeouts to finish it off. That's the bulk of the multiplayer networking games, but there's lots more on here too.